Good morning, my students. How are you today? In this video, I'm going to talk about countable and uncountable noun with quantifiers. الآن يا شباب countable noun name of thing or a noun that you can count it. Uncountable noun name of thing or a noun that you cannot count it. Okay, you have to know يا شباب that a countable noun can be singular or plural. For example, orange, oranges, boy, boys. يعني we can change countable noun from singular into plural. فأنا بحكي boy is, boys are. But the uncountable noun يا شباب has only one form اللي هو singular form. So we deal with an uncountable noun as a singular noun. Okay? Now يا شباب how or what about quantifiers? The quantifiers يا شباب اللي هم any, much, many, a lot of, a few, a little, and some. Okay, number one يا شباب في عنا a lot of or lots of. You have to know that we use a lot of to talk about large quantities of both plural countable and uncountable nouns. إذن we use a lot of with a plural countable noun and with uncountable noun to talk about large quantities. For example, Mr. Len had a lot of money or houses. Okay, houses يا شباب is plural countable noun. Money is an uncountable noun. This is affirmative. With negative we can use a lot of with negative. He didn't have a lot of money or houses. As well as we can use a lot of with a question. For example, did he have a lot of money or houses? Question mark. Okay, شباب. This is about a lot of. برجع بعيد. We can use a lot of with a plural countable noun or with uncountable nouns. Okay, to talk about large quantities with affirmative, negative, and a question. Okay, شباب. Now يا شباب, any and some. I'm sorry. Any and some. You have to know يا شباب that we use some and any with plural countable nouns and uncountable nouns. Okay, يعني we can use any and some with a plural countable noun and with an uncountable noun. Okay, but when do we use any and when do we use some? We use any يا شباب with negative and affirmative and a question. We use any with negative and a question, but we use some with affirmative. We use some with affirmative. Then we use any with a plural countable noun and uncountable nouns, but with a question and negative. For example, did you buy any apples? Question mark. Did you buy any orange juice? A question mark. I am bankrupt. I don't have any money. So يا شباب we use any with a plural countable noun or with uncountable noun like apples, juice, money. Okay, but with negative, hey, this is negative. I don't. This is a question. Did you buy any apples? Question mark. Did you buy any orange juice? Question mark. But some, I agree with you that we use some with plural countable noun and uncountable noun, but with affirmative sentence, with positive sentence. Okay, for example, we sang some songs or we listened to some music. Okay شباب, this is the difference between any and some. The difference between any and some. أنا بحكي there are some students in the class. بقدر أحكي there are a lot of students in the class. Both are correct. لذلك so يا شباب احنا ما راح نعطيك جملة بالامتحان او ما راح يجيبوا لك جملة ويعطوك خيارين اثنين يكونوا صح. Okay? Now يا شباب many, few, much, little. We use many and few with a plural countable noun. طب شو الفرق بهاي الحالة؟ Listen to me. We use يا شباب a few or a few to talk about small quantities. Okay, for example, I want to take all my money with me. Okay, even the few dollars dollars I have saved. Or he was silent for a few minutes. So we use few or a few with a plural countable noun to talk about small quantities. Okay, what about many? We use many يا شباب with a plural countable nouns in positive sentence, negative sentence, and a question. But to talk about large quantities. Okay? For example يا شباب أنا باجي بحكي لك there aren't many biscuits. They walked for many miles. Okay? So we use many with negative, question, and affirmative or positive. With a question, how many carpets are there in your bedroom? Question mark. إذا يا شباب we can use many with negative, question, and affirmative or positive. Okay يا شباب. But to talk about what? To talk about large quantities. But we use a few with affirmative sentence. Okay? To talk about هاي الفيو يا شباب انتبه. To talk about small quantities. Okay? Now يا شباب much and little. We can use much and little with an uncountable noun or with uncountable noun. طيب شو الفرق؟ Listen to me يا شباب. يوم ما نحكي لك we didn't do much shopping. I have a little work to do. How much fresh juice do you drink? Question mark. الفرق إنه little يا شباب we use little to talk about small quantities. فلذلك أنا مثلا باجي بحكي لك he only wanted a little food. Okay? But we use much to talk about large quantities. But in negative and a question. Okay يا شباب. إذن we use much to talk about large quantities of uncountable nouns in negative sentences and questions. But we use little to talk about small quantities. Okay? With uncountable noun. I think يا شباب this is clear up till now. I'm sorry. Okay, يعني يا شباب little as the same as few, والmany as the same as much, but we use many with countable, much with uncountable, with a few with countable, with little or a little with uncountable. Okay, thank you يا شباب. Now يا شباب there are some notes. Okay يا شباب هسا much والlittle as I told you we use much and little with uncountable noun, but we use little or a little to talk about small quantities, but we use much to talk about large quantities. Okay, with uncountable nouns in negative sentences and question. بالنيجاتيف والquestion هي we didn't do much shopping. This is negative. Okay, how much? This is a question. How much fresh juice do you drink? Okay يا شباب. إذا عند الماتش نستخدمها we use it with negative and question. With uncountable noun. Little as well as we use little or a little with uncountable noun. Okay, but with affirmative we use little يا شباب to talk about small quantities, but much to talk about يا شباب large quantities. يعني much as the same as many, but we use many with countable, much with uncountable, with little as the same as few, but we use little with uncountable and few with countable. طيب now يا شباب there are some notes about countable and uncountable. أنا يوم أحكي a little و a few little و few there is a little bit of difference between them. A few, a little have a more positive meaning. لكن little without a وفew without a are negative ideas. Equal not many or not much. Okay? Look يا شباب. Let us go and have a coffee. We have a little time before the train leaves. Okay? So a little or a few have more positive meaning. Hey, let us go and have a coffee. We have a little time. When was the last time you saw Dave? A few days ago. لكن little or a few without a are negative ideas. Equal not many, not much. For example, Ahmed is very busy with his job. He has little time for other things. Okay? Vicky does not like living in London. Or Vicky, okay? I'm sorry, Vicky does not like living in London. She has a few friends there. فfew little without a give us negative idea. Okay يا شباب؟ أما with a have اللي هي a little or a few have a more positive meaning. طيب. Does not use some when you are talking about things in general. Okay يا شباب. For example, I love bananas. You cannot say I love some bananas. I love bananas. لأنه هون أنت بتحكي عن بدي أترجمها بالعربي عشان الكل يكون فاهمها. Don't use some when you are talking about things in general. أنت بتحكي عن شيء بشكل عام. أنا بعبر عن شعوري. أنا بحكي لك أنا بحب الموز. فأنا هون بحكي عن شيء عام. ما بحكي عن شيء خاص يا شباب. Okay. Number 2, my aunt is a writer. She writes books. ما بقدر أحكي she writes some books. أنا بحكي عن شيء عام. ما بقدر أحكي I love some bananas. Okay. Or I love oranges. Or I'm sorry, I love some oranges. بحكي عن شعوري. Okay. الملاحظة الأخيرة يا شباب. We often use any after if. If there any letters for me, can you send them onto this address? Okay. Thank you يا شباب for listening to me. If you have any question about this video or about this rule, you can ask me. طبعا احنا ان شاء الله الحصة القادمة راح نكمل وراح نحل تمارين على ال countable وال uncountable noun with quantifiers. Thank you. Goodbye.